Welcome back, Pokemon fans. Angel of the Night here. We are back again with another Pokemon Wi-Fi battle, and as you can see, we are battling in Generation 6, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. But you know what? It's 2025. How is this possible? Well, I've got a full tutorial in the link in the description below, showing how to use Azahar and as well as 3DS custom firmware. Now, this battle was found on my Snowpoint Temple Discord, and the battler today is SiriusVcX. He comes in with a Manectric as his lead Pokemon. I come in with Tauros. And of course, as you know, Tauros is a very speedy Pokemon, and we're able to knock it out with the Earthquake. Second Pokemon to come in from our opponent here is going to be Arcanine, and of course, as you know, it does have the Intimidate ability, which is actually going to drop the attack stat of the Tauros, causing us to actually swap out to our defensive wall, which is Kingler, and be able to take any kind of hit that this Arcanine may actually come in with. Now, originally I was fearing a close combat, however, Extreme Speed did do a little bit of damage. We do have the Rocky Helmet, of course, which does do a little bit of chip damage to the Arcanine at the same time, but fearing the Crab Hammer, they end up swapping out the Arcanine for the Scizor. Now, Scizor, of course, coming in here, taking that Crab Hammer. I'm a little confused in regards to what its effort values are and what its nature may be. However, if I'm not mistaken, I believe I traded away an Adamant Scizor there prior. But here we go. We actually do manage to take a hit from this Scizor. It doesn't really do a whole lot of damage, but you gotta remember, Kingler has some crazy defensive values. So we actually end up taking the hit, doing a little bit of chip damage to the Scizor, and then we retaliate back with the Crab Hammer. However, now we are threatened by a Sceptile. Sceptile being a Grass-type Pokemon, of course, not looking good for the mighty Kingler. So we actually withdraw Kingler, come in with Bella the Blossom. And of course, Bella is a pure Grass-type Pokemon, so we should be able to take any kind of a hit that may be coming from this Sceptile, but it goes in for its Mega Evolution. And you know what? I'm super pumped to be able to see Mega Evolution again, guys. It is feeling rather good. Alright, so we actually managed to take a hit from that Sceptile here. It is going to be a Dragon Pulse. Okay, now Dragon Pulse does do a decent amount of damage, but we do have the Dazzling Gleam. So Dazzling Gleam is perfect to go up against this Sceptile because it is now Grass and Dragon typing. So it actually manages to barely hold on. And of course, we're getting a little bit of health there back with its leftovers. Okay, Mega Sceptile going back to Sirius, and he is then going to bring back in his Arcanine. Now, of course, Arcanine does have that Intimidate, which doesn't really do anything to the Blossom, but we did select the Sludge Bomb this turn, just in case they decided to swap out. Now, luckily for us, we did get a decent hit off onto this Arcanine, and we also got the Poison, which means that every turn, its health is going to deteriorate at an increasing rate. Okay, we are going to get a little bit of leftovers there with Bella, and if you guys don't know what this team is, obviously you guys never watched my streams way back in 2014, 2015, and probably actually, let's be honest, this team actually carried around right until Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. So anyways, we actually ended up swapping into the mighty Kingler again here because we did not want to get any kind of damage from a Flare Blitz. So that's exactly what happened. Didn't really do much to the Kingler, of course, but with the Rocky Helmet and the recoil damage from the Flare Blitz, this Arcanine's not looking too healthy here. Plus with the Poison, it's slowly losing its health. Okay, here's the Extreme Speed, going to be able to be a priority-based move. Not able to knock out the Kingler, but it is going to be enough to be able to take out the Arcanine based on the Rocky Helmet damage. So that is 3 Pokemon out on my opponent's side, and of course there are still 3 Pokemon remaining. And the next Pokemon that's going to come in is going to be Weavile. Now Weavile, of course, back in the day was a big ol' hit back in Gen 4. I can remember running this thing with like Ice Shards and Fake Outs and all sorts of things. This thing ends up going in for a physical attack, obviously, because Weaviles are physical attackers. Does end up knocking out the Kingler, but also as well should have received some form of, damage, of course. But they're actually going to go back to the party, and we're going to come in with our Infernape. Now, Infernape, of course, now is up against the big, bad Garchomp. As you guys know, I'm big into Garchomp. Huge fan. Garchomp, of course, does take the hit of the Flare Blitz like a pro. It does have rough skin, but it also is paired with the Rocky Helmet, so I'm actually pretty psyched to see that. But I also have some recoil from Life Orb, and I also have recoil from my Flare Blitz. So I know right off the bat that the Flare Blitz is not really the best choice. However, it did do enough to be able to weaken that Garchomp to the point where we can actually come in with close combat. Now, we do manage to knock out the Garchomp, if I'm not mistaken here. but look at all the recoil damage. Oh my god. It is not looking very good for our Infernape here, I'm afraid. We are down to about 13 HP, and guess what Pokemon comes back in? It's going to be Mega Sceptile. Now, of course, Mega Sceptile is going to be able to outspeed our Infernape here, get a little bit of a Mega Drain or a Giga Drain here, and regain a little bit of health back. However, it does pick up that KO off onto the Infernape. Okay, we're going to come back in here with our Blossom, and of course the Mega Sceptile has locked in for Focus Blast. Now, as you know, Focus Blast is not 100% guaranteed to hit, so it's actually pretty impressive that it actually pulled it off to begin with. We did end up going in with the Dazzling Gleam here once again to be able to pick up the KO off onto the Mega Sceptile. As you guys know, Dragon-type Pokemon are weak to Fairy-type moves. So we are going to get a little bit of HP back here with the leftovers, and Weavile comes back into play once again, exerting its pressure, and here is the Ice Shard. Now, of course, Ice Shard is a priority-based move, and is able to attack before Bella can actually get a move off. However, I was hoping to kind of maybe survive, but again, it is times 2 damage. Okay, we're going to come back in here with our Tauros, Ted the Tauros, and we do have the Intimidate ability, which means it's going to actually drop the attack stat of the Weavile, and then of course we are going to get hit by a Low Sweep. Now, Low Sweep, of course, is going to be able to lower the speed of my Tauros here, which is unfortunate, but it does allow him to be able to attack first here with the Night Slash, and then we're going to attack with the Earthquake. So, SiriusVcX, thank you very much for this Gen 6 battle. I appreciate it, and there is the rest of the team, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Take care, have a good one, and come battle me. Peace out.